Hey everybody, this is Nakia Brown.
Yo, this is Caddy Main and King Slim.
Hello everybody, this is Scarlett Serenity and I am loving it on CIE Fashion Talk Radio.
1, 2, you hear the clock ticking, tick tock. You about to stop living, tick tock. I want you to remember me, tick tock. But the dead don't have no memory. I'm coming. Nobody can stop me, nobody can hold me, nobody control me. I'm coming. I'm here to do my thing, I'm here to bring the pain. I'm never ever gonna change. I'm coming. Nobody can stop me, nobody can hold me, nobody control me. I'm coming. I'm here to do my thing, I'm here to bring the pain. I'm never ever gonna change. Like Tropicana, I got the juice. All for the least, they let the dog loose. Don't make me call up the crew.
Thank you for tuning in to CIE Fashion Talk Radio. I'm your host, Mr. Damian Sanders. And once again, you are in the cradle with the babysitter. Now, this is the spot where fashion meets music and music meets fashion. And nothing but the best comes on to this show right here. Now, tonight I have a very special guest. I have another talented designer, man. She's doing it real big. She's going to be out there at New York Fashion Week doing her thing real big. Coming up in February, I got Miss Honee in the house. How you doing, Miss Lady?
I'm good. How are you, Damien?
I'm doing good. Thanks for taking the time to talk to CIE Fashion Talk Radio.
Oh, thank you. And it's raining. It's a great time to talk fashion.
Oh, man, the weather is crazy out here in L.A. right now. For you guys that don't know, I mean, it's been raining like crazy, and everybody's stuck in the house. And like she said, we're going to talk some fashion right now. So, Honey, how did you get introduced to the fashion world?
I got introduced into the fashion world by an extremely talented fashion designer who is already making it, and her name is Antonella Camateo, and she's a friend of mine. And we got into it, and she saw some of my work, and she goes, well, why don't you just, go for it? So I said, all right, head in.
Now, I dig that. Now, when did you realize yourself that you had a talent for fashion?
My background is industrial design, and I've always actually, from the time I was young, watching my mother. She's a very savvy lady. They always dress well, and she's always had very posh people over for dinners, and I'm always watching what they're wearing. And I'm growing up in New York City and graduated from Music and Art High School. You remember the movie Fame?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was my high school. And so we were always into design, any aesthetics that would please me to the eye. So fashion is the next thing. And for me as an artist, that from a fine art background, I see fashion as a sculptural living form using fabric.
Okay, now mentioning it like that, now how would you feel that fashion is impacting culture today?
Fashion has always impacted culture every single day because it started with Adam and Eve when we first learned what it's like to put on something to cover up your nakedness. That's fashion, correct? They fashion things out of leaves, out of leather, even out of dirt, put mud on your skin just to cover yourself is an expression. So to me, if you have a freedom to choose, and lots of us here in the States, we have the freedom to choose, but there are a lot in the world where women or men don't really have the freedom to choose what they can put on their bodies.
Okay.
So it's a really liberating concept of if you think about it, it's a liberating concept to use fashion as a statement to the world.
Now, I definitely dig that. Now, I work with a lot of aspiring models that would love to work with a designer such as yourself. Now, when you're participating in fashion shows, what do you look for most when you choose a model to showcase your clothing line?
I choose someone who's confident about her body. Someone, or even a male model, that they should be confident about their body, and then they should see that they are a walking sculpture. That's what they are. They're showcasing a wonderful, living, breathing sculpture. That's what I say. So that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, now I get this a lot, so I'm relatively new to the fashion world myself, so I see a lot of different things that really just gouge my interest a whole lot. Now, as far as how tall a model should be, does that have a bearing on how you decide?
Well, for this collection, for my collection coming out to New York Fashion Week, I'm actually looking for a very tall model. It's based off on identity of self. And I want to be imposing, to look tall. You impose into the mind of what you want to say to people. If what's something you can't vocalize, then you do it through image.
Okay, now the name of your clothing line. Now we talked about that a little bit before the interview. Now explain us the name of your clothing line and how you came up with it.
Yes, the name is Tête à Tête. I have a background. I grew up. I was raised through French boarding school, so I can speak a little bit of French now, but I can read and understand. The word tête à tête is a French expression for it's a private conversation between two people. So it's always within ourselves. And I'm sure, Damon, you always have that, where you have a conversation with yourself. Yeah. So for me, it's very introspective of what is going on inside your head every time you make a decision. You decide or not deciding to do something or to wear something. So this conversation, I'm sharing with the world my inner private thoughts about what I feel about my identity, or what should you take away from seeing this collection. And you're going to have questions. It will be a private thought between you and yourself about who you are after seeing the collection.
Absolutely. Now, once again, it's the CIE Fashion Talk Radio. We're live and in charge and doing it real big with hot and talented designer in the house right now, Honee. She's putting it down, man. She has a hot new clothing line out there. Now, I asked a lot of people this question right here. Now, what would you like to see more of in the fashion world that's not there right now?
I would really like to see in the fashion world, getting back to a sense of dressing. We go into the far way of being very comfortable, very blunt, or very, I'm not against that. I mean, I embrace it as well, but I want people to choose it as they would choose, a meal, for instance. There's something you put on your body is very important. It's a private statement about who you are. So I would like it to go back to that sense of grace in dressing, a little more importance in placing and dressing before you go out. Because I find, especially for men, the clothing lines are maybe a tad on the side of boring. I don't want to say that, but I would think that men, I do talk to lots of them, and that they love to be able to showcase a little more colors, a little more flash, without being judged that you are this way or that way. Just a sense of I don't know if you heard of Lord Brummel in England. He was Lord Brummel, where he made dressing an art form.
Okay.
That's what I want to say.
Now, I dig that.
That's what I wanted to bring back,
Now, I definitely want to ask this question. It's a little bit challenging. So, as a designer, I want to ask you both, as a designer and what you think about it as far as models is concerned, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of fashion designers?
Oh my God, I would put Alexander McQueen. He breaks all the conventions. He was the one who really, it's really tied the expression of thinking outside the box. It's not about thinking outside the box. It's about really finding ways, different ways to create the expression of self. Your angst, your joy, your fear, anything that you can through the creative art of fashion. A lot of people don't understand. They said, what's such a big deal about clothing? It's a big deal. If you think of, you can comprise of, there's millions of hours of men resources putting into making the fabrics that you put on your body, the colors. Thoughts have gone into this process. Every time a new year comes out, all the colors that have been decided, like a year ahead, is a whole collection of great minds around the world to give us this sense of beauty, the sense of comfortability, a sense of self, a definition, even the colors that printing through your designs. Today's red, tomorrow's yellow. All of that takes a lot of thought. It's not just, inane. And for that, and think about it, behind that, we're actually supporting an industry that many people work, they find work through. So when you buy a piece of clothing, don't think of it like a waste. You buy a piece of clothing, you are supporting a whole industry, a whole subgroup of people who work in and supporting their own families for this. And to me, I find that a highly what would I say, is a high kind of way of thinking when you buy a piece of clothing, to be truly appreciated for a lot of work that put into it.
Highly gratifying, definitely.
Yes, yes.
Shouts out to all of the stylists, makeup artists, designers, models, everybody that participates in this industry. That's why I do this show right here, CIE Fashion Talk Radio, to showcase all of that talent that's out there participating in this industry that we call fashion. Now, we just discussed the designer. Now, who's your favorite all-time runway model that's out there?
Oh, gosh, who would I say? That's my most favorite. At the moment, I would have to tell you, God, if I say don't laugh at me, but I used to love Twiggy. I adore Twiggy.
Okay.
That was, way years ago. But now I find that there's certain something a little bit inexplicable, and maybe Kylie Jenner a little bit,
hey.
yeah, and maybe a little bit of someone. I'm actually looking more towards someone's different, but someone's upcoming. I'm always looking for the established, great, but I'm always looking for someone's upcoming.
The next hot
something
thing.
that can bring in, yeah, exactly. I'm always open out to giving chances to someone who has a certain je ne sais quoi that we want to bring into fashion.
Now, models, y'all.
Just something that's indefinable, yes.
Now, models, y'all pay attention, man. She's got her eyes open, so y'all, when y'all out there doing their thing, you never know who's watching. Now, if we could describe Honey in one word, which one would it be and why?
I would say irreverent.
Ooh, why would you...
Right. I want to use the word irreverent in terms of that. It's nothing to do with religious or political. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with, I see each one of us as a godlike being. We are and I don't know how to say it, but I see each person is a godlike being. So therefore, we have to treat our body as a temple and dress it accordingly. Love it.
Dig that.
Adore it. That's what I want. So I want to design anything that's possible to make the body look great.
Now, for the fans that want to get a hold of you or get a hold of your clothing line, how do they find you online?
They have to know me. Will not be able to find me online because I'm a little bit of a they're trying to not to be too out there. But after New York Fashion Week, then according to my publicist, they're going to make me to be online. So everything will be after New York Fashion Week, not before.
Outstanding, outstanding. Now, once again, I want to send a major shout out to my girl, Antonella Camateo, for making this interview with Honey possible. You can check both of them out. New York Fashion Week, that's the weekend of February 9th through the 11th. If you are not in New York, you are not anywhere. So make sure you do whatever you have to do to go check out these talented ladies. Now, Honey, before we go, any quick shout outs for those streets?
Oh, thank you, Damien, you're such a charming interviewer, and I truly appreciate your having me on the show, and I thank you everyone listening, because without all the models, the makeup artists, the hair, we designers depend on you so much.
And
thank you.
And without you, I wouldn't have a job, so I definitely appreciate you for taking the time to come on this show.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope to still be able to get on again.
Oh, most definitely. Matter of fact, you have to tell us how the show went out there in New York, and definitely send us some pictures for the magazine.
Oh, for sure, definitely. Yes, Damien. And I hope you'll be able to come out there, too, as well. I would like to meet you in person.
Oh, yes, we're definitely going to make that happen one day for sure. Now, once again, I'm your host, Damian Sanders. Thank y'all for tuning in to CIE Fashion Talk Radio, and you already know you are in the cradle with the babysitter, and you do know